From Denver, you're watching Daybreak with Tom Green, Angie Austin, Chris Tomer, and Chris Parente, named Denver's best morning newscast by the Associated Press.
Hey, if you're looking for something different to try for dinner tonight, try some salmon. And it's pretty easy. Lee Clayton Roper is back with us in studio this morning to show us how to make mascarpone and spinach stuffed salmon. Good to see you. Did I say mascarpone right? Because I know everyone says it wrong.
Yes, you did.
I did.
You did.
But when you say it right,
job.
people think you're wrong.
I know, because most people say it mascarpone.
Either way.
Which is actually not correct.
Well, let's talk about mascarpone. It's like a cheese, a light cheese?
It's like a cream cheese, but it's a double or a triple cream cheese made from cow's milk, so it's creamier. I have some here, and you can see, I'll just show you. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just got a creamier consistency to it, slightly different color than a traditional cream cheese. So because it's more malleable, it's a little bit easier to work with.
Okay, we're working with salmon today, but you wanted to make a good point about using different fish, and you know, certain fish can replace other fish in recipes.
They can. In a number of recipes, fish is actually very flexible. And sometimes you go to the market and maybe that fish that you wanted to buy isn't fresh or they don't have it. Well, there's different fish that you can substitute. We actually have a list in our book that breaks down fish by type. You know, is it mild flavor, moderate texture, or whatever. So, for example, for salmon, you could substitute trout or you could substitute red snapper with this recipe, or with most recipes that would call for salmon.
Well, let's make the salmon now, and it is easy. I was very impressed with the simplicity of this recipe.
There's just a handful of ingredients in it. It doesn't take any time at all. It's so easy. You could do it for a family meal, but it's elegant enough to do for a dinner party as well. So the first thing you want to do, these are about 6-ounce salmon fillets. You want to try and get your fishmonger to cut them from the thicker part of the fish if you can, since you're going to stuff it.
Fishmonger.
It's that guy behind the fish counter.
I know. I think if I call him that, we may be out back fighting. I just call him the guy.
Get the guy to cut you a bigger piece. And the first thing you want to do is make sure there's no bones in there. So I'm kind of a hands-on person. When I cook, you just kind of want to push around like this, and then you'll feel a bone. And they make tweezers for this, but I usually just use my hands, and it's as easy as that.
And with fish, you can almost always find some.
You can. And so that's the first thing that you do. And now you take a knife, and I'm going to make a slit down the middle.
The most important way.
Exactly. So because it's going to look like that when we're done.
Kind of across the skeleton.
Exactly. And the most important thing is you don't want to cut through the ends or the bottom. So you want a sharp knife to make a clean cut, which is why you could use a smaller one. This is just my sharpest knife that I happen to like.
So this is like a deep score.
Exactly. And you know, the fillet has the skin on the bottom. So that's a good indicator. You can tell when you're starting to get close to cutting through. You should go almost to the skin. Right to the skin. And then kind of use your fingers like I'm doing here to pull it apart so you can get the stuffing in there. Like that. And then the stuffing is just cream cheese with the mascarpone cheese and some... So it's cream cheese and mascarpone? And mascarpone both. It's more mascarpone than cream cheese. It's 4 ounces of cream cheese. Well, actually, it's about the same. And a half a cup of mascarpone. And then you have 1 10-ounce package of frozen chopped spinach that you've thawed. So it's thawed but not cooked? Not cooked. You've just thawed it under, I usually just do it under hot running water. And then you rinse the moisture out really well. And then you mix this up. We're going to put in a little bit of a dash of nutmeg, just to give it a fun little flavor. A little bit more. Put that in there, and then you just mix this up like this. And then once you get it mixed, you're going to take it, and then you're going to divide the mixture evenly. The proportions that I just gave you will stuff about 8 fillets. So then you take it, again, I just do it with my hands. I think it's the easiest. And you just stuff it in there. Well, let's move forward a little bit, because we're going to run a little tight on time, because now you're adding some bread to this, right? Right, you do. Then the next thing you do is you put it on a pan. You sprinkle it with a little salt and pepper. A little olive oil on the pan. Olive oil brushed on the pan. Put it on the pan. Sprinkle it with salt and pepper, which we'll skip that step. Pretend we did that. And then this is breadcrumbs with Parmesan cheese and melted butter. And then you just take this and sprinkle it on the top. Pat it down so it sticks, kind of as much as you want. The recipe calls for a lot of breadcrumbs, so you can coat it as much or as little as you want, because you can certainly use these for something else. And use a hot oven. Hot oven, 450 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes, and should be done by then. The filling is hot through, the salmon's opaque. Look for that color. Look for that sort of golden brown on the top, and the fish is opaque, and it comes out looking beautiful like that. Well, as always, the information is in A Well-Seasoned Kitchen, which is Lee's fantastic cookbook, but it's also, this recipe is available on our website at KWGN.com. Thanks so much. It's good to see you again. Thank you. Nice to see you, too.